Hello students, and I am your teacher April. What are the objectives for week 7, which is about real numbers? So letter A, illustrate real numbers in each subset. B, arrange real numbers in increasing or decreasing order. And letter C, represent real-life situation involving real numbers. Now, let us try to answer the following questions in Learning Task 1. What is the smallest number that you know? Do you think it is really the smallest number? If it is smallest one-digit whole number, that is 0. Now, do you think it is really the smallest number? No, because we have a negative infinity. Mas malayo sa 0 pag negative, mas maliit ang value. Number 2, what does 0 stands for? 0 is the midway between positive 1 and negative 1. Number 3, when you subtract 8 from 10, what is the difference? Mathematical equation for that is 10 minus 8. What is 10 minus 8 is equal to positive 2. So the difference is positive 2. How about if you subtract 10 from 8? Is there an answer? Yes, because 8 minus 10 is equal to negative 2. Next, number 5. Are fractions considered as integers? Fractions are not considered as integers. Do you know fractions? Give some example. Examples of fractions are 1/2, 3/4, -1 and 1/2, -5/3. What do we mean by real numbers? So when we say real numbers, these are compilation of all types of numbers. So what are those types? We have natural or counting numbers. So when we say counting numbers, these are numbers that we use in counting. That is, we start from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. The 3 dots called ellipses. It indicates that the pattern continues indefinitely. This set is also called as the set of positive numbers. And remember, the set does not include 0. So wala siyang 0. That is natural or counting numbers. Next is the whole numbers. These are numbers consisting of the set of counting numbers and 0. So kapag may 0 na siya, it is called as whole numbers. Next is the integers. It consists of positive numbers, 0, and negative numbers. Next is rational numbers. So we already discussed the definition of rational numbers in our previous lesson. So it is defined as numbers that can be expressed as quotient of two integers a over b, where b is not equal to 0. For example, 2 over 3 is a fraction, 4.35 is a decimal, 0, -8 are integers. So negative 5 over 4 is also a fraction, and 5 and 1/2 is also a fraction. Square root of 25 is a perfect square, and 14. Okay, so these are examples of rational numbers. Next is the irrational numbers. So these are numbers that cannot be expressed as quotient of two integers. It includes the non-terminating and non-repeating decimal. Their exact values cannot be expressed as either terminating or repeating decimal. For example, pi. So this is equivalent to 3.14, 15, 926. Okay? Then we have square root of 5, which is not a perfect square. We also have negative. The square root of 17 is not a perfect square. So, these are examples of irrational numbers. Here are the three diagrams on how real numbers are represented. So, real numbers consist of rational numbers and irrational numbers. A rational number consists of integers and non-integer rational numbers. An integers consists of whole numbers and negative numbers. And a whole numbers consists of 0 and counting or natural numbers. Okay, so kung mapapansin ninyo, nagsimula sa natural numbers at an early age, then it was extended to include 0, and that is a whole number. On the later part, the negative numbers were introduced. So, naging integers. Then, the combination of fractions, decimals, it is now called as rational numbers. Then, we have also irrational numbers. So, rational numbers and irrational numbers are called real numbers. Real numbers can be arranged in increasing or decreasing order. So, when we say increasing, starts from left to right or lowest to highest. When we say decreasing, starts from right to left or highest to lowest. For example, arrange the following real numbers in increasing order. So we have negative 4, 5.8, negative 1 half, square root of 50, 4 and 2/5, and square root of 36. So kung mapapansin ninyo, we have different types of numbers. For you to arrange this correctly in increasing order, you need to express all the given real numbers in decimal form. So we have negative 4 is written as negative 4.00. 5.8 is already in decimal form. Negative 1 half when changed to decimal is negative 0.50. Square root of 50 is not a perfect square. That is equivalent to 7.07. 4 and 2/5 when changed to decimal is 4.40. Square root of 36 is a perfect square, that is 6. Okay, so since we have negative numbers, so tandaan kapag nasa number line, mas malayo sa 0, mas maliit ang value. So, ano yung pinakamalayo sa 0 dyan? Negative 4. So, mas maliit siya. Next is negative 1 half. Next is 4.40. Next is 5.8. Next is 6, which is square root of 36. Next is square root of 50, which is 7.07. Okay? So, your answer must be negative 4, negative 1 half, 4 and 2/5, 5.8, square root of 36, and square root of 50. For example number 2, you're going to arrange in decreasing order. So we have 9/7, negative 4/3, negative 1.65, square root of 2, 0, and 3 halves. So again, change this to decimal form. So 9 over 7 when changed to decimal is 1.285 and so on. Negative 4/3 when changed to decimal is negative 1.333 and so on. Negative 1.65 is already in decimal form. Square root of 2 is 1.41. Then we have 0. 3 halves is 1.50. Okay? So, since this is decreasing order, so mauuna muna yung mga positive. Sa tandaan, mas malayo sa 0 kapag positive, mas malaki ang value. So, alin ang dapat mauna? We have 1.5. That is 3 over 2. Next is 1.4. That is square root of 2. Next is 1.2. That is 9 over 7. So, next is 0. Then, ang kasunod na niya is negative. Tandaan, mas malayo sa 0, mas maliit ang value. So, the next number is negative 1.3. That is negative 4/3. And the last is negative 1.6. That is negative 1.65. So, therefore, your answer is 3 halves, square root of 2, 9 over 7, 0, negative 4 over 3, and negative 1.65. For learning task 2, letter A, you're going to state whether each statement is true or false. So, for example, the smallest negative integer is negative 1. Is it true or false? The answer is false. Why? Because on a number line, we have a negative infinity. So, mas malayo sa 0, mas maliit ang value. Okay? So, you do the rest of the numbers from 2 to 10. For letter C, you're going to use real numbers to represent the following real life situation. So, we all know that the concept of opposite is commonly demonstrated in real life situation. So, for example, in terms of direction, going south is the opposite of going north. In terms of length, short is the opposite of long. In terms of altitude, low is the opposite of high. And in terms of quantity, few is the opposite of many. So in mathematics, the concept of opposites is denoted by signed numbers. So sign, whether positive or negative, plus the number. For example, going to the right is represented by a positive. Going to the left is represented by a negative. Going up is represented by a positive. Going down is represented by a negative. If it's gaining, it represents as positive. If it's losing, it is negative. When we say increase, it is positive. When we say decrease, it is negative. For example, a decrease of 5 meters. A decrease, so that means the sign is negative. A decrease of 5, so that is 5. So, sign number, the sign is negative plus the number. This is how you represent the number as integer. For number 1, a temperature of 8 degrees below 0. So, how do you represent below? it is represented as negative. The number is 8 degrees, so that is 8. So, temperature of 8 degrees below 0 is represented as negative 8. Okay? So, again, you do the rest of the numbers starting from 2 to 10. Thank you for watching. I'm your teacher April. Remember, study with love, study with all your heart.